Here's Brody Brazil.
So, Drew Remenda, when we see you back in the flesh for real on the pre and post games, on the broadcasts, I mean, it's going to be like the old days, but are you going to be any different, or are you going to kind of be like that old pair of socks that we found in the back of the drawer? back of the drawer.
First, I'm going to be the old pair of socks. That's a great way to describe it. First thing you're going to go is going, geez, what the hell has Canada done to you for 7 years?
You look fine. I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
Still bald.
Well, then that's sad. That's sad. I still wake up every morning and apologize to Michelle for how I look. I don't know if I'm going to be different for sure. Nobody stays the same over 7 years, right? I mean, nobody. If you do, you're either spectacular like you are, and or you're like me, where you try to reinvent yourself because you're several past versions of yourself nobody seems to like or can stand being around for any amount of time.
Come on. Well, I know one person who I think likes you, Randy Hahn. Now, look, last year when you joined us, I'm saying joined us, it was all virtual, and that's the only way possible. What specifically are you looking forward to when it comes time to being around Honor, being around Hetty, in the flesh? And specifically, it'll be great to have you on our shows, but when you jump back on a broadcast, on a game broadcast, what's the part for you where it's like, this is what I really love?
Randy making me laugh right off the bat. Honestly, I mean, there has not been a day in those years that I worked with Randy where I did not laugh like a 11-year-old in church trying to stop my snicker, and so the minister wouldn't get mad at me. It was, Randy makes me laugh, but also he is one of the most talented broadcasters in the game today. I really believe that. His voice is fantastic. He knows the game inside and out. He knows when to, give it the punch. He knows when to back off. He knows when, and this is a trait that a lot of broadcasters don't know anymore. He knows when to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And just let things just go. He is super professional and talented, but the one time, I think the first time I fix his pocket square will be, I'm back. But because, I'll tuck it back in because he has a tendency to have it get out a little bit high. So you got to bring it back in. But I being with him, and Brett and Randy and I worked together. We did some three-way broadcasts, and they were good.
They were.
Brett's so good down on the ice. He sees so much, and he's got that player's perspective, which he doesn't miss much, man. He doesn't miss much. And one of my proudest moments as a broadcaster is Brett and I doing a Drew's Clues where Brett was talking down there in the surf on the ice, and I was drawing it upstairs on the telestrator.
I remember that.
And I was like, name somebody else who can do that. Ryan Boucher and Eddie Olczyk. Yeah, try that, you guys. You won't be able to do it.
That was a national move on a regional broadcast, by the way.
It was, right? We were for the adequate for the market, but we were better than that. But I don't know. The whole thing, Brody, we've talked about this before. The whole thing is coming back and broadcasting to a group of people who like what we do and how we do it. That means a lot.
Yeah.
That's the payoff for you right there. And then, I had a talk with Kelly Rudy the other day. Kelly, former Shark and Hockey Night in Canada guy. And, we were talking about my time in Edmonton and everything else. And he said, well, I saw last year you did some, I didn't tell him what was happening this year. He said, I saw last year you did some stuff with the Sharks. I went, yeah. And he goes, that must have been fun. I said, yeah, it was. And he goes, it's where you belong. And he took the words out of my mouth. And, at least that's what I think anyway.
Some watching this might disagree, but again, if they're watching it, Drew, they're probably a fan of you. They would have clicked away from this by now.
Exactly.
I know you're a stickler of many things. Like you have some pet peeves you hate, like to see or hear, like somebody leaving their feet is one of them, or midair. Anyway, so. But I know you also hate when people say something that's supposed to be a question, but I'm not actually going to ask you a question, but I'm actually going to do that right here and now because I just want your reaction to this. And I think Brett Hedican would feel the same way, because when he started into the broadcasts, he was brand new at it. And when I joined the Sharks in 2009, I mean, I was brand new at not TV, but specifically covering hockey. I'd watched it for years, but I mean, not anywhere near the level of, some of my predecessors or a person like yourself. Drew, you were a little bit hard on me, but when I say hard, I don't mean like in a mean way. You would literally give me valuable pieces of advice, and you weren't just like buddy at first, like, hey, you're an equal part. Like, I truly feel like you made me better because I wanted to. I was trying to earn respect, or I was trying to earn. I don't know what it was from you, but I want to say I really appreciate that. I'm sure Hetty does too, from a TV perspective. There are so many things I picked up from you over the years. I just want you to know that, and I still have a long way to go. I'm sure Hetty feels the same. But the point is, I picked up so many things from you, so I appreciate that, and I know that's not a question.
I know it's not. Two things. Number one, I think you're being way too kind to me. I was a jerk.
No, you weren't. I like when you said you ask every question you ask starts with how important is this? How important is that? And you know what? You know what's hilarious is I went back to the tape and I was like, damn it. He's right. I can't do that.
That's my favorite thing to hate, is how important is it? When somebody says to a coach, how important is it to get that first goal?
Exactly.
It's not at all.
Exactly.
We just got lucky. We don't even think about how important was it to score that last goal with 3 seconds left on the power play.
Yep.
It wasn't. So that one always used to drive me crazy. But really what bothered me about you to start were your ties. I think we had to, that was where I wouldn't be anger,
right?
But vitriol, I think would be a better word, came from with all your ties.
I was doing too much. I was trying too hard. You were keeping it simple.
There's another one. Trying to do too much. So that was what turned me off right away. And then you were really talented, and I was jealous of your talent.
Oh, come on.
So then I was like, I don't like this guy at all.
I just had hair.
Yeah, well, that's, again, if you want to get really personal, fine. If you want to get to that level, we can do that.
No, and again, I mean, honestly, you're talking about ties now. I literally did not do the dimple thing until I met you. And ever since 2009, I will not go on TV wearing a tie that does not have that perfect little teardrop dimple, only because that's what Drew does.
Nobody else did either. I was the only guy doing it, and I was the only guy doing the pocket squares.
I wear squares now too.
Yeah, exactly. I do it. I did it, and I will take. People go now. Come on, I'm going to take full credit for that wave that has hit the National Hockey League. But anyway, the one thing that I always believed about our broadcasts, I always thought we were good at what we did. I thought we cared about the broadcasts. I thought we told the truth in our broadcasts. Whether it be you downstairs or Randy and I upstairs, we told the truth. Sometimes the truth was really great. Sometimes it wasn't. But I always had, and sometimes, many times at the end, especially, I got in trouble for the truth. But the way I was telling it was more of an issue than what I was saying. And a lot of times that's true in any walk of life. But one thing, we never lied to the fans, ever. And I had a discussion with somebody in the Sharks organization once about how we spoke about the team when they weren't playing well, and that maybe that we weren't doing the right thing. And they pointed out Kruk and Kuip and how Kruk and Kuip always reacted to the Giants. And I said, well, it's a couple of different things. I said, baseball broadcasts and Kruk and Kuip are at the top of the food chain without a doubt, but they've got 162 to get this thing.
Right.
And baseball, if you fail 7 out of 10 times,
you're a Hall of Famer.
You're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You fail 7 out of 10 times, you're going down to the A in the NHL, right?
Right.
I said it's a little different intensity and vibe. I said, but my bottom line is, and I said this to this person who was fairly high up in the organization, said, how can I praise them with any credibility if I can't criticize them honestly? Because if you keep saying to the fans, they're great, the fans are going to go, shut up. And we know the broadcasts that do that.
Yeah.
If you're honest with the fans in what you're saying and how you're saying it, then you're going to be okay. Then you should be okay. And I think that we got to that. I think as Brett and you and Brett developed, and even Bakes, when we started working all together, I think we did that as a broadcast team. But we always, I think it's like a player. It's like, the rumors about how Mark Messier would treat guys in the dressing room. And I'm not saying I'm Mark Messier of broadcasting, please, because he's now the Mark Messier of broadcasting. But you have to, I think it shows the ultimate sign of respect, and I think it shows the ultimate sign of you care, is when you say to somebody, hey, what you should be doing here is, in my opinion, is this. Now, my delivery with you wasn't always fantastic, but again, it goes back to your hair and your ties that started my tone.
Tough love works over here. I'll say that. That's actually been one of the biggest things from anybody to ever give me in my career is tough love. I want to do one more us related thing before I actually get to the hockey team. I know this is said a lot in the fashion world, but on opening night, Drew, who will you be wearing?
I've actually got my own. Like, well, I guess, yeah. So
the designer, is it a Tom Ford? What are you coming with on
Tom Ford? Yeah, like I'm Daniel Craig. Like, I'm going to afford $5,000 suits.
Those are 10, I think.
Yeah, his are 10. I've got Jack Victor. It's a Canadian designer, made or custom.
You got the name on the inside, yeah.
DR, yeah, it says made for DR. Yeah, so that's the problem. Like, I'm coming down. I've been for the last 2 days. How many suits do I bring? Like, how many suits do I bring? What do I bring? I can't bring the double-breasted because it's so distasteful, and that bright blue one. I can't bring that because everybody's wearing that color nowadays. I'm in angst over this. It's honestly kept me up at night.
You're gonna have to dust half of them off. You're like,
all right, hey, I just honestly just got back from the dry cleaner. Oh my Lord!
Would they use a hose on it or something?
Oh, it's dry cleaning's ridiculous now, man.
All right. The Sharks. Since 1991, they've never missed the playoffs 3 consecutive seasons. They're at 2 right now with a lot of questions going into this third. To you, is that the biggest point and goal of this season? Like, do whatever you got to do to just get into the second season, and that in itself is a step forward for this group.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's looking at, if you're on a team, or if you're a fan of a team, and you're looking at them and they just want to compete, we just want them to be respected. We just want them to compete, just make the games competitive, then you're in the wrong business. You're cheering for the wrong team. There should be no other goal amongst that team than make the playoffs. It's professional sports. It is professional men's ice hockey. Your job is to go out and make the playoffs. That's all you should be thinking of. You shouldn't be thinking is settling for anything else.
Well, how about the flip side, Drew? And I hate to cut you off, but the flip side is, we want to win the cup every year. I get it. Yeah. Everybody does. But before you get there, like, I almost want to say, let's stop that conversation which has existed for decades around this team. Stop it. It's okay, but don't say that publicly. Say this publicly. Get to the playoffs.
Get to the dance. Exactly, 100%. Look at the teams over the last number of years who have won it all. President's Trophy winners, and then how far have they got in the playoffs?
Right. It's a curse.
It's a curse.
Yeah.
The teams that, I hate to bring up a horrible point, but the LA Kings finishing 8th, winning the Stanley Cup. I think 7th, too, was one of the other ones.
Yeah.
But teams that get on that run, Montreal Canadiens last year, always a weird year, but they get to the Cup anyway because of just great goaltending, and they got hot at the right time. The idea is to compete and win as many games to garner as many points as get to the Cup. Get to the dance, and then from there on, it really is a different thing. So yes, if anybody's thinking anything different, and I related the story to Ted Reimer the other day on the Sharks cast, or that Kevin Constantine came in that third year. We lost 71 games the year before, and hey, it's Todd McClellan. Should I answer it? I can't.
What a flex that was.
Should I flex in there? He phoned me yesterday, and I didn't call him back.
Wait until he hears what you're doing.
Wait a minute. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. Hey, I'm on Brody Brazil's podcast right now. Can I call you back later? Okay. Do you want to say anything to Brody Brazil? That's it.
Awkward. Okay. This is so awkward.
Okay. You got it. I'll talk to you later. Bye. He says,
Drew,
hi.
hang on. Wayne Gretzky is calling me here.
Actually,
wait,
I got
no.
Wayne. You want to get Wayne? I'll get Wayne.
No, wait, that was Wayne Simmons. Wait, wrong Wayne. Sorry.
Sorry. So, sorry, I had to do that.
I miss old T-Mac. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, so he says hi and hopes the family's well.
I appreciate that.
That's why I said that's it. There's
Likewise to him. Well, no, he's just, we'll catch up at some point.
Good man.
So go ahead.
So Kevin comes in, and we lose 71 games, and Kevin comes in that third year. We have our first team meeting at the Burlingame Hyatt. That's where our team headquarters was. And Kevin gets up and stands in front of everybody. Now, we brought in Igor Larionov, Sergei Makarov, Bobby Airy, Jamie Baker, Gaetan Duchesne, Sean Cronin, Todd Ellick. We brought in a lot of guys, Jimmy Waite. We got a lot of veteran guys.
Right.
And Kevin got up there and said, we are not here to be competitive. We're not here to be respected. We're not here to make things close. We are here to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Period. We're here to shock the world. We will shock the world. And I was sitting beside Igor and Mac at the time because I kind of knew them from international hockey. And Sergei turned over, or Igor looked over at Mac and went, Mac, I thought we had joined the Sharks. And Kevin goes, we are going to ask more of you than any team or any coach has ever asked of you. And Igor looks at Mac and goes, does he know where we used to play? But it was Kevin setting the bar,
right? Setting
the bar high. And that's the only place it should be, is set it there.
Yeah.
You've got to be a playoff team. That's it. That's what these guys play for.
So it's not very often, at least in Sharks history, that you start a brand new season with a completely fresh slate of goaltenders. I mean, there have been years where, two new guys come in, but a lot of times it's, all right, a new backup this year, or maybe the backup we already had, and now Martin Jones is our new front man. But literally with Reimer and Hill, and I guess Reimer's been around before for that one small spurt in the Stanley Cup run, but what do you expect? What is to be expected from those two guys in particular?
Well, from James Reimer, just like Andrew Cogliano and
Bonino,
Nicky Bonino, leadership,
a
stable hand, a guiding light, to be really poetic. When I've heard people talk about James Reimer, and I don't know James, and I listen to James second time, but all you hear is good things.
Yeah.
All you hear what kind of person he is. Not very often throughout the Sharks' existence, even in the early days, were the Sharks struggling with goaltending. They have in the last couple of years, and they needed to make a change. Martin Jones just forgot how to stop the puck. Devin Dubnyk did the same thing in Edmonton. Left Edmonton, bounced around, then he got settled. And he even said when he came back to Edmonton the first time, he said, you know what, I don't blame them for getting rid of me. I just forgot how to stop the puck. Jose Theodore back in the day in Montreal. I mean, they're just sometimes you just lose your way.
Yeah,
lose your edge, right? And so James brings that. I don't know much about Hill, not a lot.
Well, he's only started 40. I mean, that's the contrast here. Reimer's been around for a decade. Hill has, I think, 41 starts to his name. So that's kind of the balance here.
Yeah, and I really couldn't tell you. I've seen him play like really one time. Honestly, I watch a lot of hockey, but how often do you tune in to watch the Arizona Coyotes? Right?
We watch the Desert Dogs a lot out here.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're tuning in to play the Sharks. Thank you very much. Take the drink. So when I don't know much about him, but he's a young guy who can learn from an older, experienced veteran.
Right.
The thing is with goaltending, I'm a firm believer in this. Just stop the ones you're supposed to stop.
Right.
And we talk about save percentage, and Martin Jones' save percentage and the Sharks' save percentage wasn't very high in the last, I think it was 3 seasons. It's been 30 or 31. When you look at that, that's a snapshot of your goalie, yes, but it's also the bigger picture.
100. I'm so glad you brought that up. It's I use the analogy. It's not like baseball where a pitcher has an earned run average. If a shortstop makes an error, that run doesn't count against my ERA. But in hockey, no matter how many 2-on-1s or 3-on-2s or 3-on-nones I'm seeing, or second and third and fifth chances, like point blank right out front, those all count the same as a goal that, oops, it went 5-hole and I kept it open,
100%. Yeah. And it's it's like the plus minus. It's plus minus and errors in baseball. That's the same comparison I make. If a shortstop makes a bad throw, the 9 guys, the other 8 guys in the field don't get an E beside their name, right?
Right. That's a good point.
But they certainly, in hockey, you do too. But with the Sharks and with any team, defending is more than just letting your goalie try to make that last save.
Mm-hmm.
It's a broader topic, obviously, and that's one of the areas. If the Sharks are going to make the playoffs, that's one of the areas they really have to be much better at is defending. And when we talk about defending, we don't talk about we mostly do. We focus on just playing in your zone. Defending starts as soon as you lose the puck. That's why they've done studies in the last number of years that the neutral zone is the most important zone. Why? Because I can squeeze guys out there. I can shrink the ice there. I can stand up. I can force a puck turnover. I can shorten the ice for me, and I can start my attack offensively. So you've got to – there's got to be some areas where the Sharks look at this game and say, okay, this is where we need to improve. The number one area they need to improve, in my opinion, from last year to this year is defending. As soon as you lose the puck, bang, we're back on trying to get it together. To me, it's a non-negotiable.
Not to be the smart one here. I'm just an aggregator of what smart people say. I've always believed this, kind of like in baseball where, a scoring, and the same thing in hockey, scoring comes and goes even for the best teams. Offense, by nature, is it fluctuates. You should not go in defensive slumps as a team, right? If you have a solid foundation, you play the same way. I mean, there are going to be games where you give up 6. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah. But generally speaking, know what to expect, play a certain system, be predictable, and those things will help you be a good defensive team.
And you bring up those are great points, and those are things that when you say know what to expect.
Yeah,
I have to know what to expect if I'm out on the ice with Logan Couture or Brent Burns or Erik Karlsson or Tomas Hertl or whoever. I know what they're going to do. They know what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm going to be predictable defensively because these are what coaches will call non-negotiables. That my first 3 steps out of the offensive zone are hard. My first 3 steps are in, if I'm a forward, are in the dot lane, where the dots line up, in the dot lane. I'm coming back that way. If I'm a defenseman, my first inclination is to get in because I know my third man high. I got to get in to pinch, and I'm not going to give them the space to come out of the zone.
Right.
And I can do that because I know my third man is going to be there covering.
Got your back. Yep.
Right. And so there's those predictables, those, this is how we play. And if we play this way all the time, more times than not, if we put in a sincere 100% effort all the time defensively, if we don't cheat defensively to spark the offense, we are going to be a team that can do some damage. Unlike
television production, freelancing is bad in hockey. The other thing too, and just to put a bow on it, I think what we're all saying is that team defense, I mean, the casual fan might hear that and say, oh, we're talking about Brent Burns, Karlsson, Vlasic, Ferraro, the blue line. No, team defense is literally, to your point, forwards, defensemen, anybody wearing skates and not in the blue paint. That's team defense, essentially.
Watch what Tampa did last year in the playoffs. Just go back and watch them.
Yeah.
They played here's a great, I love this saying too. It's another one of these sayings, but unfortunately I use it all the time. It's in my vernacular. They play the right way, but I got to get that out of my vernacular because
I was going to say, I think that sounds like something you would hate. The right way. What's the right way?
Yeah, that's the right way.
Says who?
What's the wrong way? Yeah, exactly.
I got 2 more things for you here. Yeah. I don't know what time pressure you're on, but this is where I'm at in these final 2 team related things. William Eklund turned 19 the other day, and I know his history. I know his dad played. His dad played with Dan Boyle during the lockout season, right in the 2000s. So that just goes to show you, was he born in 2002? I guess it's crazy. Anyway,
oh my gosh!
But I think the questions that surround him. I mean, everybody's been thrilled the fact that the Sharks even were able to draft him 7th, and then he had a really good camp. I mean, he has met the challenge or exceeded the challenge every single time. Now he's made the team. I mean, it's to the point where people are saying, "Can I buy his jersey on opening night at the Shark store?" But I think when you have any questions about him, they relate to his size. The size of the rink that he's used to playing on, right? I mean, it's different, international versus North American ice, smaller size. But also maybe I don't even know if this is a question, age, maturity, how he'll be able to flourish. I think those are the three elements that people have questions about. How do you evaluate him?
The first thing I look at now with hockey players, what's his skating like?
Mm-hmm.
And his skating is good. It's quite good. Can he get up and down the ice? Is he think quick versus fast? Because quick gives you the separation. Quick closes on guys quick, closes on time and space. And he's got that. He's got the hockey IQ, obviously. But then I look at his age and I don't care, because these kids now coming up are so much more mature than, especially when I was 1,000 years ago. But every generation is more progressive and more advanced than the previous generation. They're smarter, whether it be in athletics, in technology, or in anything. The previous generation is just a little bit behind. The new generation they're up on everything. And Eklund's up on everything. His skill level is through the roof. And you watch a lot of kids coming up and playing now. The stuff that they do, the stuff they can do is phenomenal, because this is the stuff they grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as being young in this league, as long as you've got the right people around you, and I sincerely believe there are a number of right people around Eklund and around the Sharks, from the guys in that room to Ray Tufts and Mike Aldrich to Bob and his coaching staff, Johnny McLean. Johnny McLean is one of the top-notch guys in the National Hockey, one of my favorite people around. Like, such a good, smart, even-headed guy that's been through it all.
Mm-hmm.
To Doug and everybody in the staff, Rosemary, everybody that's in that staff, he's got a lot of good people,
mm-hmm.
and he's got a great support network. There will be times when he is going to feel down. There's going to be times when he is going to feel like, what the am I doing here? And that's when sometimes the right guy needs to come over, like Logan Couture, who got in the league in early, like Tomas Hertl, who got in the league early, comes over and says, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're just go out and play. Clear your head and just go out and play. He'll be okay. He really will, because the bottom line is his talent will supersede everything else that he's gonna run into.
I just feel like all of us this season are going to watch him extra close and to the point. Yeah. And when you're saying when he does inherently struggle, because this league is really hard and he's new to it, that the first reaction from us is like, okay, well, maybe he needs to play 10 games with the Barracuda. Maybe he, and we're going to probably, I'm already saying this, we're probably going to overanalyze everything that does or doesn't happen because we care and because we want him to be on that perfect path, which truly does not exist,
Exactly. So. Well, if it's a perfect path, I believe is that going through adversity, going through tough times, and no matter when you go through them, if you can come out on the other end, you're going to be a better player for it. You're going to be a better person for it. You're going to be a stronger person for it. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you struggle for long periods of time. But usually in sports, you've got the helping hands that we just talked about. So those struggles, I think you need to go through, because we always talk about teams that win, eventually get to that winning point, that they have to lose first in order to understand how hard it is to win. Ron Wilson used to say all the time, it's hard to win in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
It's tough to win in the playoffs. So you've got to go through those tough times in order to become the player or the team you want to be.
I look forward to him, especially. It's special, and I don't want to take anything away from Jonathan Dahlen, too. I know his name is on the forefront of young, players to be excited about, but I think, and I hope Eklund turns out to be special. Last thing here for you, and I know he's gone through a lot in the last couple years, injuries included, but Erik Karlsson commands a salary unlike anybody else on the team,
in the league,
unlike anybody else in the league. Yeah. So inherently the expectations are always through the roof. Yeah. I'm not even ready to talk about that part yet. All I really want to know from your perspective and opinion, how does Erik Karlsson just get back to playing like Erik Karlsson that we're pretty sure he's capable of?
Stop trying to be the Erik Karlsson that is making $11.75 million a year. Stop trying to play to your salary. you're right. Physically and emotionally and other issues, he has had his fair share of woes and heartache in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Really tough situations.
Yeah.
And they've been very open about it, the Karlssons. But they've gone through a lot. And I don't care who you are and how tough you are mentally, it's going to affect you. Physically also, he has had his problems. And again, that affects you. But my advice to Erik would be, you're Erik Karlsson. Go play like Erik Karlsson. Don't go play like Erik 11.75 million Karlsson. Don't be that guy. Don't go out there with your own expectations or your own drive of, I've got to show everybody what I'm worth. What you have to do is go play the way you can play. Skate the puck out of problems. Make that good first pass. Be involved in the offense. But don't try to dominate every game because you think that's what we all expect because we all know what you're making. And I say that because when I was in Edmonton, Andre Sekera, signed by my first year in Edmonton with Sportsnet. Andre was signed by the Oilers for a good contract for him, $6 million for 6 years. And Sek he is one of those beauties, man. He is such a great, great guy. His first year, he was not very good. And everybody looked at him like, oh, why? What a terrible contract, blah, 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 blah. Well, we all do it because we do compare the guy to the salary. And the next year he came back and really settled down. And he started to feel better and everything else. And so he and I always we'd see each other at Chipotle all the time. And I sat with him once. I said, what was the change? And we were in Minneapolis, right by the hotel. And he said, first of all, he said, is that all you're eating? And I said, yeah. And then
how many Pepsis can a man drink, by the way?
and he said, I stopped worrying about proving I was worth $6 million. I said, how'd you do that? And he went, I just went out and played. He said, I just cleared my mind and I went out and played. He said, anybody would have signed that contract.
Yeah.
He said, they gave it to me. I signed it. And now I just have to go out and play like me. And that's what he did. And he was actually quite good. I mean, the injuries sidelined him, but he's a beautiful man. He's a terrific, terrific guy. And he got it in his head. I can't go. And you see guys do this. Dean Lombardi talked about this a long time ago when he was signing Drew Doughty to that big contract. And he said the one thing that worried him about signing Doughty, who was notoriously competitive, notoriously hard worker, tough as nails, go through, we know what Drew Doughty's like. He worried that money would change him.
Yeah.
And Dean said, you can't help. It's human nature that money will change you. Todd McClellan has that saying, it's hard to be hungry when you're full. There's a lot of things that go into that kind of money going on into one guy's bank account. But Erik Karlsson, and the very few conversations I have with him, about 3 years ago with Sportsnet, I had a great conversation with him in Arizona. And you can tell, and I knew after that conversation that this guy cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. He cares about being part and a big part of winning. He is a guy who is going to be very important in the Sharks. And if he can get over the fact of trying to prove that he's worth the salary, if he can get over the things that have in the last 3 years have really come down on him and his wife in his life, I think you're going to see a resurgence from Erik Karlsson.
Drew, I'm going to close it out by bragging just a little bit. Now, I host shows year-round. I just finished baseball season. I haven't done anything in studio in a dozen days, which is like an eternity for me. But by the time I see you on Saturday night, I will have had a haircut. Now, I know that's not something you can relate to, but I can't wait to clean it up. I'm going to be fast and tight on Saturday night when I see you. I can't wait for that.
Now, this haircut that you speak of.
Polish you up a little bit before the show. I'll take
pockets. See, you were okay with haircut, and then you went to the polish thing. You went, wait, that's over the line, man. Come on, man. We have to do the opposite. We got to put gobs of makeup on so the shine doesn't just destroy everybody's viewing at home.
Here's my problem. I already have 3 opening lines for our show, like the first time we come on camera with Pregame Live, and I don't know which one I'm going to roll with. One of them is a chirp on Brownie. The other one is, significant but also hilarious chirp on you, and the other one's self-deprecating. So I don't really know. I've got them in the bank. I don't know where we're starting, but.
Did you watch? Do you happen to watch the Manning brothers a couple of weeks ago?
I like the Manning cast. I love it.
With Manning cast with Peyton. Do you remember what Peyton was doing to Philadelphia fans?
I didn't see that one specifically.
Okay, well, just so you know, it's out there. It's available.
Okay, do my research. Well said, Drew. Appreciate this. I can't wait to see you actually in person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't tell you how happy I am about coming back, and I'm overjoyed. And thank you, because I know that you were part of it. So the hate mail can go to you.